Okay, so we're having our first look at our 1977 Alfa Romeo Alfetta. Just arrived into Singapore, unloaded from the container, custom cleared and delivered here at home. So the first thing I've done is wiggled around and managed to pop the bonnet. The cable's broken, but we managed to get that open. Have a quick look inside the bonnet, under the bonnet. Bonnet itself looks in good shape. Clearly some issue with the usage of lubricant, because there is actually a funnel tied to the bonnet catch. So clearly we have lubrication issues of some kind, and we'll have a look at that. Under the bonnet doesn't look too bad. Rust in the usual places. Battery's been removed, as you can see here, which is not a bad thing. The usual bit of rusting underneath master cylinder. That'll be for some residual brake fluid loss. And then also we've got some rusting around the spark plugs, and that is going to be the flood water that was retained in the vehicle when the vehicle was almost washed away in February up there in Yorkshire in north of England. But everything looks pretty original. Still got the original Delorto carbs, a pair of those, good. Look forward to having a tinker with those. The original air can and the original jack. Okay, moving around, what we were expecting to see was actually a far worse condition around the windscreen. Not looking too bad. Clearly there's some work been done here. I think this is it. Looks like investigative work. May have been a bit of welding in the past. We'll have a look at that. We'll have the screen out. But looking around the screen, something to have a look at there. But looking along the top and along the bottom, just have a look at the bottom here. Not looking too bad. Not looking too bad. I've seen some of these cars in hell of a lot worse condition in these areas. But once we've got the paint down, we'll have a look. I'm going to come back to the front. Let's just continue on with the front screen. Look along here. Not looking in too bad condition around the air vent. Again, similar thing. Obviously some body filler here. That's going to come out, and we'll go back to bare metal and see what we've got there. And again, this top driver's side corner, clearly been some work done, an exploration of some sort. Okay, now let's have a look at probably what looks like the worst part of the car, which is the wings and the doors. So clearly we have major bodywork issues on the driver's side front wing. See there's obviously a large area of rust corrosion there. We'll have a good look with the wheel off. We'll have a look at the inner arch. So it's just a preliminary look. The door skin is out of shape, the front door, but they open and close nicely. There's a nice gap all the way around, so it may just be a question of reskinning. It may be that there is work been done which is not finished 100% correct. Looking at the rear door, I've got that open so we can see more easily. That has been dented. So that one is also out of shape, but again that one opens and closes fine, so it's clearly not any major damage. There's clearly not any major damage to the structure of the door chassis. One area of concern here, I don't know how you do this. Someone has bashed this somehow. The car has been bashed somehow. That may have been during the flood. That may have been when the car was buffeted around by the floodwaters. And then the rear wing, the rear driver's side wing, Someone started working on this. In fact, inside, you just have a look inside here, you'll see there are replacement arches and another panel. I think that's the rear lower quarter panel, but we'll have a look. And that looks like someone contemplated doing repairs. Scraped away at the metal, and then the work wasn't completed. So I suspect that the sills are going to need quite a bit of attention, if not replacement. And then looking around the right hand rear porch of the car, everything seems to be there. The car, actually, leaving aside the door's not closed properly, so clearly a major issue with the door skin. But the door frame actually opens and closes nicely. You can see where the front wing is rusted and popped out. The rear panel, we'll have a look at that. We'll have a good look at that, and that will either be repaired or replaced. The rear of the car actually looks terrible because the bumper is held on with some cable ties, and so it's out of alignment. And we'll have the bumper off. And we'll have the bumper off, take it off properly, and have a good look around there. Inside the boot, we've actually just finished siphoning the water out of the fuel tank. And obviously the fuel tank shouldn't be there. That should be bolted up under the bottom of the car, but it was water in there, so we just siphoned as much of the water as we could get out of there. So that's now empty. Couldn't lift that up a few minutes ago, so that job's complete. Nice. But in the boot of the car, there were the replacement panels. There were this. I think this is sound deadening. I don't think it's a carpet. It might be a replacement carpet. It's black on the other side, and then all these bits and pieces. So some sound deadening. There's what looks like that fuel line. It's bent up. The black plastic overriders, 3 car stereos, and zoom in there, and I think that's an amplifier. Since they've been submerged in water, I'm not sure how much use they're going to be to anybody. We've got those the rear plate lights, look like it, for illuminating the rear number plate, and yeah, a few other bits and pieces, and the mud flaps. Okay, continuing on with the boot. So we're in the boot now, and there's a spare wheel. Spare wheel doesn't look to be in too bad condition. There is a lot of water in there, which is all going to have to come out. And we siphoned the water out of the fuel tank. The fuel tank is over there. We're going to go and have a look at that in a second. We're just going to have a quick look around the boot first. So what do we see? The panels are all still on, so we're going to have to take those out. The interior panels, they're going to come out. See, this one has been partly removed. This is the excuse me. This is the one which covers the rear lights. It's partly removed, and what we have here is actually a what looks like a child's plimsoll sports shoe shoelace, and that is in turn holding up the rear bumper. Okay, so the rear bumper is held on with literally a shoestring. Okay, so that we're going to cut off very shortly so that we can take out this rear panel and have a look at that. Not an urgent job, but I don't want it to be sitting there held on by a piece of shoestring. Anyway, let's carry on going around. The chrome itself doesn't look too bad, both front and rear. It's going to be cleaned up. The exhaust bracket is dropped down, so it's clearly an issue there. Looking along this side of the car, we're not in bad shape. We are going to have a look at the door skins and this rear wheel arch. We have a look at the door skins, the rear arches, the rear wings, of course. We'll have a good look at, and also the sills. They invariably will need some work. Moving around this side, the doors seem to open and close without a drop, so that's quite encouraging. Window winder mechanisms, one or two of them are shot. I don't know if you can see that. This door skin is bulging outwards towards the bottom, so that is going to have to be looked at very seriously. The wheels are looking in reasonable shape. We won't know until we've taken them off, given them a strip down and a good clean. And then moving back around to the front of the car, yeah, I think that's it. From a distance, this side clearly better, passenger side clearly better than the driver's side. Some trim pieces missing. I think there are some sitting in the car somewhere. I'll have a look around. And again, another piece of mechanical intervention. No idea what that is billowing around there. Let's have a look. Looks like a paper towel. It's some kind of wipe. This obviously is holding the front bumper on, so that will be entertaining. We'll cut that and see what happens, and we'll do that in a little bit later. Okay, so we've given the boot a little bit of a clean. First thing to notice, and we've taken the bumper off, so it looks a little straighter than it did with the wonky bumper held on by the shoelace. And first thing to notice here is what looks like a tow bar connection. So we're going to open that up and have a look at what that is, and probably pull that length of cable back in through the boot.
Oh, Daddy.
This is my co-worker, 4-year-old Aaron Natarajan Johnson. Okay, you're now talking to YouTube. Okay, say hello.
Hello.
Okay, that's all you need to say. And we've got a nest of wire in here, so it looks as though maybe when the tow bar was fitted, it looks as though there was a tow bar at some point.
Is finished.
It looks as though there was a tow bar at some point, so there's a strengthening bar here. All of this wiring was pulled out and not properly reconnected, so we'll have a look at that. The spare wheel well, we've had a quick look at, and there's some rust to come out of there, possibly to be replaced, probably the entire tub. And
talking to no one.
but we've given it a clean, and now we can start stripping back these internal panels and seeing how the metal looks. Okay.
The Mercedes is working.
And here is the chief cook and bottle washer come to cheer us on. Good morning. So what we failed to mention in that last little bit was this wonderful piece of engineering here, which is the boot catch, and I did wonder why the boot wasn't closing properly, and I suspect that this construction here, which appears to be largely fiberglass, of course, may be the culprit. It is the culprit, of course. It's a giant wodge of fiberglass there. I'm just going to come around the other side so you can see that. There we go. So that will obviously all come out. Hopefully we'll be able to get a repair section made there, get the boot catch plugged back in nicely. A little bit out of focus there, but I think you can see, so the boot catch itself seems to be okay. One or two problems opening and closing the boot, which was due to a slight indentation over here, which we just knocked out with a mallet and a piece of wood, and that seems to be okay. Boot actually opens and closes okay, no catching, and we've taken the rubber seal out, so around the rest of the boot lid, not looking too bad, but clearly taking the radio antenna out, that will be permanently removed. A little bit of compromise here, that can be fixed, but we'll have a good look at that once the lights are out. And yeah, so the major issue seems to be the boot catch, and we'll, as I said, we'll take this lot out, undo that little plastic bag which has been on there for God knows how long, and has apparently survived a dunk in the River Aire in North Yorkshire, so clearly some quality plastic used, but we don't need it, so it's coming off. So I think we correctly surmised that this little thing at the back hanging down that was wrapped in a plastic bag, which is there, was a tow connection. Starting to rain here, so this is going to be the last little bit for a while. I need to pop out and buy a waterproof car cover, because the one I had was sunproof but not waterproof. How that works, no idea, but we'll undo this later on and pull that cable back into the boot, and then we can start tidying up and marking the wiring. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so here's our fuel tank, quite badly corroded on the outside from first appearances, but quite encouraging that it was actually full of river water. Now, whilst most people don't want to have a tank full of river water at any point in their driving career, what it does show is the tank is not leaking, at least not significantly, and we may be able to use it. So we'll give this a good clean, we'll de-rust it and take off the paint. We may have some pinholes to repair, we may take off the top skin, reskin it, but we'll have a good look. If we can get inside, we'll put a lining in there, and yeah, I'm hoping we can use this one.